Have you ever really stopped to think about why your phone is made of glass and aluminum, but your water bottle is plastic? It's definitely not a random choice. Actually, every single object you touch is the result of this incredible hidden strategy for picking the absolute perfect material for the job.
So, to really get our heads around this strategy, we're going to look at an object we all know, one that went through a massive change. Because what looks like a simple choice on the surface, metal or plastic, well, that actually opens up a universe of options and a huge challenge every single designer has to face.
And that brings us right to our big mystery, the good old vacuum cleaner. For decades, it was this heavy, clunky metal appliance. And then it felt like almost overnight, it just wasn't. So what was really going on behind that huge switch? I mean, just look at this difference. On the left, you've got your 1950s model, solid, dependable, made of mild steel. But fast forward just 35 years to 1985, and on the right, it's a completely different beast. It's sleeker, it's got all these complex curves and shapes, all made possible by molded polymers. This was a total materials revolution. But this wasn't just a facelift. The improvements were absolutely massive. The new polymer vacuum, way more powerful, but also lighter. And get this, it went from 11 main parts held together by 28 fasteners down to just 4 parts and a single fastener. That is a gigantic leap in manufacturing simplicity. And the cherry on top, it was a whole lot cheaper to make. So here's the key takeaway. The designers weren't just sitting there deciding between metal and plastic. That's not the real story. Their actual menu of options was, well, it was almost unimaginably bigger than that. They were choosing from this, more than 120,000 different materials that an engineer could pick from. I mean, it's a giant library of metals, polymers, ceramics, composites, and every single one has its own unique personality. So faced with that, how in the world do you even begin to choose the right one? Back in the day, a company might have had a materials guru, some seasoned expert who just knew all the options from experience. But with the number of materials exploding so quickly, that old school experience-based approach, it just can't keep up anymore. It's basically obsolete. So how did we even get here, to this point of having way too many choices? Well, if we take a quick trip through our material history, a really interesting pattern starts to show up. For almost all of human history, developing new materials was incredibly slow. We had the Stone Age, then the Bronze Age, thousands of years. By the 1850s, steel was the undisputed king of engineering. But then, look what happens around 1960. It's an explosion. Polymers, composites, advanced ceramics. The rate of innovation just goes vertical. We are absolutely living in the age of advanced materials. Okay, so trying to navigate this crazy new world of materials meant we needed a totally new playbook. Designers needed a system, a process, and we can think of it like an invisible four-way handshake that quietly shapes every single product that you use. And this whole process happens in stages. First step is the concept, the big idea. Then comes embodiment, which is where you start giving it a real shape and thinking about what materials could work. And finally, you get to the detail stage, where everything gets locked in for manufacturing. Choosing the right material is absolutely critical, every step of the way. And throughout this entire design journey, there are 4 key elements that are locked in this constant dance with each other. They're in this tight, inseparable partnership, where you can't touch one without affecting all the others. And here they are: function, material, shape, and process. It's like they're all holding hands. You can't change one without the others reacting. If you pick a certain material, that limits the shapes you can make and the manufacturing processes you can use. If you need a certain function, that tells you exactly what kind of material properties you need. It's a constant back and forth conversation between all 4. So you're staring at 120,000 options, and you've got this complex 4-way handshake to deal with. How do designers make a smart, logical choice? Well, they use a systematic selection strategy. This is the modern scientific answer to the old materials guru. And don't think for a second that a system like this is about limiting creativity. It's the exact opposite. It's what enables it. As the materials expert Michael Ashby said, true innovation often comes from the imaginative exploitation of new or improved materials. This systematic approach is the tool that unlocks that very imagination. And the strategy itself is actually pretty straightforward. It's got 4 steps. First, you translate your design needs into actual material properties. Like for an airplane wing, it has to be both light and strong. Second, you screen that whole universe of 120,000 materials.
and you throw out everything that doesn't meet your non-negotiables. Third, you rank what's left based on how well they get you to your main goal. And finally, you document. You do a deep dive on the top few candidates to make that final informed decision.
So, why are we talking about all this? I mean, who cares? Because this super logical process, it goes way, way beyond just vacuum cleaners. Its impact literally shapes the entire world we live in. This kind of systematic selection is what makes our modern world possible. It's how we get lightweight composites that make cars more fuel efficient. It's how we get biocompatible alloys for life-saving medical implants and super tough ceramics for jet engines. Seriously, getting the material choice right, it's everything. And you know, it's not just about cold, hard performance metrics. The way to think about it is this. A good design, it works. But an excellent design, one where the material, the shape, and the function are all singing in perfect harmony, that kind of design also brings real pleasure to the person using it. So the next time you pick up, well, anything, you're going to see it differently. You'll start to see the hidden choices, the silent strategy that brought that thing into existence. Now that you've got the framework, just look around you. What material mystery are you going to solve next?